Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Big Dave here from the Mad Rock Morning Show, and I'm here today because, well, it was on this day 55 years ago, 1966, the original Star Trek, the original series, TOS, debuted on TV, so it is officially Star Trek Day. That's September 8th, and of course, as a huge Trekkie, I had to get on here and talk about it. I mean, how could I not? I mean, I'm a huge Trekkie. I love Star Trek, always have. Always will, but I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about it and show some pictures and just show some of my love and inspiration and stuff from Star Trek and watching it over the years and how I got into it and everything. Now, these types of things like tend to work better, right? Whenever we get a little bit of interaction with you as you're watching and interaction with me as I'm doing this live stream here. On Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch as well. So you make comments and things, and if I see those, I might be able to bring them on. But I have questions for you. I'll, of course, share my favorites of some of the stuff, of some of the series and movies and stuff like that, and species and questions I have that I'll talk about, and then want you to join in and kind of share your opinion of it. And I don't care if you're a casual watcher or enjoy Star Trek just casually. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just Star Trek Day, so we'll talk about it because you can watch sports and like sports kinda. You can watch Star Trek and like Star Trek kinda or not. And even if you don't like it, we can debate that if you'd like to. But today is Star Trek Day. And so, of course, me, a huge Trekkie, and of course, the only one I think here really at the radio station, wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about some Star Trek stuff. So let's bring up the page here, the Mad Rock website, because today I posted up there at madrock1025.com, as you can see, I posted that today was Star Trek Day, right? So let's celebrate 55 years of Star Trek. And so I shared a ton of pictures. And it took me forever to put this post up on the website because I didn't realize just how many pictures that I had of some with me and my wife or kids with some of the actors from some of the series of Star Trek. So yeah, again, I mean, I know that I'm a huge Star Trek fan, but sometimes you forget when you're like, all right, let's put together a little post. I'll share some of these things and pictures like that. We'll get to some of these pictures. That was just the first one. So the first one I want to talk about is, I'm a Trekkie. So much so that my daughter, who loves to draw and do stuff like that on her tablet and stuff, she actually drew last year for my birthday in 2020. Me in the Star Trek universe, which I thought was fantastic. Now, I really appreciated the fact that she made me a captain, right? So I've got the 4 pips on my neck in the picture that she drew of me in the Star Trek universe with a gratuitous, I'm not really sure why, a tribble's just hanging out on my shoulder, but she decided to draw that on there. So, but my daughter's talented with that, and she knows how much I love Star Trek, so I have that hanging up in my office so that I can look at it and smile about that because I love Star Trek. Now again, as I mentioned, I wholly expect you and want you, whoever's watching out there today, to please post comments about this as we talk about some of the Star Trek things and some of these pictures. Like maybe you've gotten a picture with some of these same people at some of the different conventions and things like that. Now, what I am sad about is that I've never had the chance to actually go to the big Star Trek convention that they've had in Las Vegas. It always seems to happen like right around the first of the school year, and my wife's a teacher, so that's never worked out, and the kids were always having to go back to school, so I've never done it. Now, I know Steve Lenore at KXII, he's a huge Star Trek fan too, and I know he's been to that convention like numerous times. Now, if you go to the website there at madrock1025.com, you're going to see I have embedded the live stream for Star Trek Day that Paramount Plus is doing. So coming up, I think it's around 7 o'clock tonight or 7:30 tonight. That's Central Time, our time here in Central. You'll be able to watch this, and we'll go over some of the panels and stuff that they're going to be talking about. But I've gone ahead and put that up on the Mad Rock website just in case you want to watch that and don't want to have to go over to the official Star Trek thing. But let's just talk about some of the people that I've had, some of the actors that I've had an opportunity to take pictures with over the years from Star Trek series, right? So here you have Avery Brooks, of course, Benjamin Sisko, First Commander, then Captain Avery Brooks, also the emissary for the Bajorans. The dude was, so you think, I mean, you hear all these stories about him, and just he loves jazz. He was one of the coolest people I have ever met in my entire life at that convention. He was just a really super nice guy, and really enjoyed having an opportunity talking with him. And of course, you can't go wrong. I mean, you got Jean-Luc Picard, you got Sir Patrick Stewart, getting a chance to meet him. I mean, by this time, and William Shatner, you can kind of see his head down below. We'll talk about that one here in a second. But but Patrick Stewart in this picture, he was trying to be so nice to everybody, and there was just so many people, and you could tell like he was just, he was getting tired at that point of having to take all these pictures at these conventions. But another really nice guy. And I mean, not only in Star Trek, but all the other movies he's been in, and now he's doing Star Trek Picard, right? I mean, so he's still acting, still in that same role over again. But there's William Shatner. Now, the Shat, he was having a bad day. He was not in that smile right there, as nice as it was, it's completely fake. It is totally fake. He was, by the time we got to him in line, he was done, but he did his best to do the smile. But if you look really hard, you could tell that's one of those fake Hollywood smiles. And I don't fault him for it at all, because we were way back in the line of that picture taking. I remember that. That was a long time ago. So here's one of my favorite pictures that I've had taken with Data and Worf and Commander Riker, right? I guess now Captain Riker in the continuum there, but Brent Spiner and Michael Dorn and Jonathan Frakes. And then, I'm like that ultimate Trekkie nerd, right? So not only did I paid to do the picture with the three of them, I then paid again for each of them to sign the picture of all of us. Yes, huge Star Trek nerd. That's me. I admit it readily. And then we got separate ones too. So there's me and my wife and my son David with Brent Spiner, because David liked Data always. And there, and see, now I want you to pay close attention to this particular picture. This was funny because Jonathan Frakes was like, oh yeah, like totally like hitting on my wife, right? I mean, it was like, okay, whatever, Commander Riker. And she was eating it up. She absolutely loved it, because you can see he's like, his arms around her and kind of like pushing me out of the way. It was so fun. He was a nice guy though. And listening to the guys talk when they were all in the same area, for the signatures and stuff, they had the greatest stories, the greatest things. And I love him as a director too. Now, here's another one of my favorite pictures when it comes to Star Trek, right? Here we go. Leonard Nimoy, the late, great Leonard Nimoy, another wonderful guy, great actor, so charming just in the few minutes that we got to spend with him there. But I really enjoyed taking that picture too. And another hugely nice guy. And I wish he would have gotten the job on Jeopardy. I mean, I guess there's technically still a chance that he could, but I don't know. LeVar Burton, always knew him from Reading Rainbow, and then he was on The Next Generation and stuff like that. Another super nice guy, getting a chance to meet him. Michael Dorn by himself, Worf, who's been in more episodes of Star Trek than any other actor because of how Worf likes to move around through the Star Trek universe. Then you got Nichelle Nichols, having some bad times in her life right now, the conservatorship and stuff that she's having issues with. But at that time, I think that was probably 10 years ago, 11 years ago. But really, really nice lady there too. Now, here is by far one of my favorite character actors in the Star Trek universe, Jeffrey Combs. When you think about it, he has played so many different characters. Weyoun, he was at Deep Space Nine. He played Shran in Enterprise. He was Brunt. He was Krim and Tyrion and Pink and just so many other ones. He even got to go without any makeup in one of the episodes too. But Jeffrey Combs, absolutely great, and he was a great guy. And he was surprised. I was like, this was actually taken at one of the Texas Frightmare Weekend. I think it wasn't last year because they didn't do it, but the year before that, that's when that picture was taken, and everybody was getting him the Reanimator pictures done. And I was like one of the few Star Trek fans there that grabbed the Weyoun picture and got him to sign that for me after we took this little selfie together. Now, I remember this was one of the Star Trek fan days, one of the conventions, one of the first ones I ever went to. I guess that was in 2010, right? And so I don't remember what I said to piss off the Klingon, but I mean, the next thing I know, I got a Klingon knife to my throat. And of course, I'm going to say something to piss off a Klingon. That's what I'm going to do. But I managed to use my diplomatic skills to get out of the problem and stuff like that. So maybe you saw this picture as we started there, that the Star Trek comm badge. So one of the questions that I have for you, and it's asked of me, every time I tell people that, hey, I'm Big Dave. Yeah, I'm a huge Trekkie. I love Star Trek. So they're like, oh yeah, okay. So which division of Starfleet would you want to serve in if it was actually a real thing? And so my answer to that is not one of the common ones where you do command or whether you do the science or security or one of those. Mine, and the badge tells it all. Now, only true Star Trek fans who've watched it up to the point of Discovery knows what that badge is. And yeah, I'm a total nerd, and I'm wearing my communicator badge here in the studio with me right now as I'm doing this live stream. How could you be a Star Trek fan and not, right? So what is that badge? Do you know what that badge is for? It's technically known as the Black Badge, but it's for a specific division, well, unofficial division of Starfleet and the Federation. What do you think? You know, answer. This is great if you do comments like, what would you serve? Which one of those, which division of Starfleet would you want to serve in if you were? If I see you post a comment, I may bring it up and talk to you about that. But the Black Badge, also known unofficially as the Section 31 badge. That's where and obviously I would be Section 31, but then probably undercover in one of the other divisions, which would probably be some sort of science or command structure, I'm sure. But that's what I would do. That's definitely what I would do. But if you want to take a look at any of these pictures a little more up close of the Klingons and all that stuff, you can up on our website there at madrock1025.com. But that's one of the questions that I've got for you there is, what division of Starfleet would you want to serve in? If you were part of that, what would you want to do? Any particular ship, any of that kind of thing? Now, here's another question I've got for you. What is your favorite Star Trek TV series? Now, this should be an easy one. Now, the question I just asked you a minute ago, which division, I know that you have to be like an uber Star Trek nerd to really go so far as to think, if I was going to do this. Now, the great thing about Star Trek, though, when you think about 55 years of Star Trek, right, has inspired so many people to go into the sciences. It has inspired young people since the 60s to pursue careers and livelihoods in the sciences and in math and all that stuff. I mean, when you think about it, you know, the original flip phones, right? Those were designed after Star Trek communicators from the old school series, right? I mean, even these, they're sort of like the pads that they had in the newer versions of it. Even the iPads and stuff we use, those are very similar to what it is. So a lot of the devices that we all take for granted every single day have been inspired by Star Trek. So you gotta give props to that. But what is your favorite Star Trek TV series? What do you think? Now, I know that we've got all kinds of, because you got to think about it. You got the original series, you've got the Next Generation, you've got the animated series, which a lot of people overlook for whatever reason from way back when. You've got, as I said, the Next Generation. You have Deep Space Nine, then you had Voyager, then you had, after that was Enterprise, which unfortunately didn't last as long as I was hoping it would. I actually enjoyed that show quite a bit. Let's see, after that, let's see, you had sort of a break for a while, but I mean, we have Star Trek Discovery now. We've got that brand new Star Trek Prodigy show that's coming out. Star Trek Lower Decks, the animated one on Paramount. I love that show. It's like the ultimate Trekkie Easter eggs in every single episode, making fun of itself. It doesn't take itself too seriously and makes all these references to the other series. But Lower Decks is by far, Discovery is a good one. And now you've got some of the new ones that are coming out too, To Boldly Go and some of these other ones. So we're getting more Star Trek. I don't think you can have more Star Trek or too much Star Trek at all. So what is your favorite Star Trek series? Anybody that's out there watching, post in the comments. If I see that, I'll bring that up and give you credit for that. Now, people ask me what my favorite Star Trek TV series is. I would have to say Deep Space Nine is probably my favorite, followed by the Next Generation. Because you got to think, I mean, when I was growing up, I was too young to remember the original series. That came later for me. I mean, I remembered Spock, I remembered Kirk and all that stuff, and watching that in syndication and reruns with my dad. But I didn't really get hooked into it. I did with the Next Generation, and then especially did with Deep Space Nine. And I liked Voyager, watched that all the way through. I enjoyed Enterprise quite a bit. Now, as of the new series that have been coming out, I really enjoyed Discovery. I know a lot of this is like Star Trek fans either hate or love Discovery. I think the storyline is unique. I love Picard as well, but by far the newer one that I like the most is definitely Lower Decks, the animated version. I laugh and enjoy every single episode of that. And the voice actors are so wonderful, and I hope to meet a lot of them at some future convention too, just to thank them for the work that they're doing and some of the writers on those shows. But yeah, DS9 would be top of my list for my favorite Star Trek TV series. Now the next one, what is your favorite Star Trek movie? If you got a comment about that, post that in the comments. If I see it, I might bring it up here on live. What is your favorite Star Trek movie? Now, by far, Now, again, I guess the motion picture, it came out in, was it 78, 79, somewhere around there? So, I mean, I was like 2 years old, somewhere around, not very old at all. So I don't really remember that one, but I remember The Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan, by far my favorite one. I also enjoyed The Undiscovered Country. I enjoyed it. A lot of people, I know not a lot of folks enjoyed that one, but I like that. Just talking about the Klingons and trying to get over biases and prejudices between the Klingons and humans after fighting for so many years. I like the subtext behind a lot of the storylines and things like that. But yeah, Wrath of Khan by far. And then if you were to talk about the Next Generation version of the movies, those lines, I would have to say it would be First Contact, because I've always liked the Borg. I always have. Your favorite Star Trek character? Now that question, that's a little more difficult. I mean, there are so many great characters. All the command. I mean, everybody. How can you not like Worf? Worf is amazing, like the ultimate badass, right? So you got to love Worf. But I don't know. I might think. I mean, I like Deep Space Nine a lot. I liked Quark. I had a chance to go back when they still had Quark's bar and the Star Trek ride in Las Vegas, at the Hilton there in Las Vegas. Got to go to the bar, and so Quark's bar I thought was always fun. So the Deep Space Nine, I really liked Avery Brooks. I like Chief O'Brien of that stuff. I don't know. I think a lot of them, the DS9 characters, I think I relate to, but especially like I loved Weyoun. Jeffrey Combs' portrayal of Weyoun was fantastic. I love that. So I'd have to say for like main character, it would probably be Avery Brooks as Benjamin Sisko as favorite character. And then after that would be Weyoun as one of the side characters, I think. Now the species, I always enjoyed the Breen. I relate to, like, a lot of people make fun of me just because they're like, you're so logical, you should be a Vulcan, but I'm not. I'm like, I have some of the logic, but not so much. So I actually always like related to the Romulans. I know that's probably not a good thing to admit to, but I always kind of related to the Romulans. But the Breen in Deep Space Nine, I just, for whatever reason, I want to know what they look like in those suits. I also like the Andorians. Not very trustworthy and stuff. I figured I'd be the exact same thing. So yeah, Star Trek. What's your Star Trek species? Yeah, the Breen, I think, would definitely be my answer to that particular question. Now, let's talk about the actual Star Trek Day stuff that's happening today. So over at StarTrek.com, surprise, surprise, they're going to be doing quite a few things. They've got a schedule and everything on there. If you just want to go check that out, StarTrek.com/day, you can see as I said, that live stream that they're going to do is going to start around. It shows that it's like the actual action starts, I guess, at 7:30 our time, but I think they're going to show something ahead of time for about 30 minutes. So it's going to start around 7 o'clock. But you've got all these panels that are going to happen. The Star Trek Day introduction there, the welcome remarks. Will Wheaton's going to be on there. They're going to talk about Star Trek Prodigy, it's basically a kid's show, really, is what it is. Then they're going to have panel number 4 for Deep Space Nine. Then they're going to do Discovery, then Enterprise, Strange New Worlds, which is the new show. With Captain Pike there. Legacy moment for Voyager, the Lower Decks, again, one of my favorites of all of them. The original series, the Roddenberry Legacy is one of the panels they're doing, the Next Generation, and then Star Trek Picard, where Q is returning, which I think is fantastic. The Borg are going to be, they've already made announcements that the Borg Queen is going to be part of it, and Q is going to be there, supposedly Guinan. A lot of time travel, wibbly-wobbly kind of stuff happening with Star Trek Picard in this next one. But you can just go there and watch all that and get more information about each of those. I just wanted to bring it up on screen just so you sort of had an idea what was happening in all the stuff for Star Trek Day there. StarTrek.com/day if you want to watch any of that stuff later on this evening. Again, around 7 o'clock, I think, is when they start some of the initial stuff, and then the actual panels and those types of things start about 7:30 tonight Central Time, if you want to check that out. So go check out those pictures if you want to up on our website, madrock1025.com. Go to StarTrek.com/day for all the other stuff that's happening and the celebrations. And of course, you can buy a bunch of stuff too, Star Trek. And I'm sure my wife isn't happy about the fact that I've been looking on the shop, but I'm like, I'm good. This year, I'm good. I've got my badge. I've got my Section 31 badge on my shirt here today, and I'll be good with that. I'll just have to, unfortunately, it's like I saw the time start for the stream, and I was like, oh, that's such a bummer, because by the time it starts tonight, I'm already asleep because I got to get up and do the morning show the next morning. But that's all right. We'll be doing that. But I just wanted to share my love as a Trekkie for Star Trek on this Star Trek day. Hopefully you enjoyed some of it. Even if you're watching the stream after the live part of it, still comment about it. I'd love to know, people out there in the Mad Rock Nation and my friends on Facebook, who your favorite character is, who your favorite Star Trek species is, what's your favorite Star Trek movie, what's your favorite Star Trek TV series. Even if you've just watched some of them in passing and you don't consider yourself a Trekkie, still love to know, what do you like, what do you not like? I love having discussions with people who don't like certain aspects of some of the series I do, and it's fascinating to me to listen to why they don't like Discovery, or why they don't like The Next Generation compared to the original series. And, a lot of generational stuff there going on too. And I especially love hearing stories from people who are inspired to do science and to be interested in the sciences because of Star Trek, and help design some of these futuristic things like the flip phones and those types of things. And maybe one of these days we'll have some sort of warp drive. Who knows? Hopefully, though, we won't break that warp 10 barrier and turn into those salamander weird things. And yeah, that's just weird. But anyway, thanks for watching. It's all about Star Trek. Happy Star Trek Day. Live long and prosper. Resistance is futile. So forth, so on. You have a great one.